So today, unfortunately, it looks like the banking crisis is getting out of control. Let's talk about what's going on today, and let's talk about Bitcoin. But Powell said, no, everything's good. Everything's good with the banks. Don't worry about the banks. You know, all the ones that were supposed to go under are rescued and saved. Look at this. PacWest trading halted, immediately down 41%. This morning, yesterday, it was down like 55% in the after hours. But now it's been halted. They are looking desperately for some kind of savior, right? They call it strategic options. But really what it means is, hey, we need someone to buy us out right now because we're about to collapse. Our shares have collapsed so much that, we're in deep trouble. And I told you guys this when he said that First Republic, after it was done deal, that the crisis is over and there's no more. And I told you guys for sure, Inverse Kramer was going to be right, that there will be more crisis and more failures, right? Well, First Republic did go under. Now you're going to have PacWest. And I saw another one today because there's a Canadian lender, TD Bank, that was supposed to acquire First Horizon National Bank. And then they decided not to do so. That's not good. That's not good. First Horizon is down 37% right now. 37%. And they are large. Over $5 billion market cap right now. So it looks like this bank may be feeling the pain soon too. A lot of these regional banks, I know that, JP Morgan and Bank of America and Citibank, the Goldman, these bigger banks seem to be okay. At least, I don't know, maybe there's trouble behind the scenes we don't know about. But these bigger regional banks are really struggling, and they're big. They're not like small mom and pop banks. These are huge banks with hundreds of billions of assets. First Republic Bank was the second largest bank failure in U.S. history. And it's considered a regional bank. So think about that. These guys are not small by any means. They're hundreds of billions of assets on hand, and they are going under. So PacWest looks like they're about to be done. And then First Horizon now, right? So bottom line is this. Powell said everything's okay with the banks. Not just Powell. Janet Yellen said everything's okay with the banks. President Biden said everything's okay with the banks. Everything's not okay with the banks. There's an article from Reuters that talks about Europeans draining billions from banks as all these European banks are now seeing deposits dwindle because people are taking them out. Either because the interest given is so little that is laughable that they're taking it out for money markets or other kind of, or other notes or whatever that's paying more, and or they're taking it out because now they're seeing a lot of problems with banks. Let's not forget Credit Suisse was just bailed out recently too, right? A forced merger with UBS. So it's not just the U.S. banks. It's banks everywhere. And everyone's struggling right now because every government on the planet is trying to curb inflation by raising rates because that's the only thing they could do. And when they do that, it hurts these banks a lot. They've been hiding the pain until they no longer can bear it. And that's when things come out and everything tumbles down, right? So it's all over the place. It's all over the place. According to this, I don't know how many people were polled by CNBC that 48% of adults are worried about leaving their money at the bank right now, okay? I don't know if that's high. That may be a little bit high. I don't know how many they pulled, but still, I know a lot of you guys watching me right now, a lot of people that are in Bitcoin, yeah, they're worried about leaving massive amount of money in banks, okay? I mean, banks are great until they're not. And I don't know what it is. Every 10 years, we see major bank failures. We have major collapses. Maybe because that's how long it takes before greed and leverage ruin something. But we see this all the time. Like every 10 years, almost like clockwork. Famous billionaire investor says time is running out to fix further bank collapses. Domino effect is ongoing. I'm glad to hear someone coming out that's saying, hey, the banking crisis is not over. It's only beginning. Well, I shouldn't say that because he's not the only person. Standard Chartered Bank, their CEO just said that recently, and they're very pro-Bitcoin. They know what's up, right? So it's not just Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is on, it's on a right track here too. Basically, what's going on right now is not good, and yesterday's further rate hike in the U.S. is not helping things at all. So this makes a lot of people think that this next FOMC meeting, Powell may have to cut immediately because between now and June, we get another 2 or 3 banks that go under. They can't ignore that. He cannot ignore that further, right? So it's actually predicted that there's actually a small chance, maybe that small chance has gotten bigger, that there may actually be a cut. Well, no, they actually removed it. They removed it. Now it's 98.5% chance that there will be no rate hikes for next month. But yesterday there was like a small little chance that there will be a cut. We'll see. Powell says, yesterday he said basically no more hikes, but he's going to be monitoring the situation. If you want to take your money out, where do you go park it, right? Where do you go park it that doesn't have some kind of association with a bank or some kind of government entity or some kind of centralized service? Well, that's Bitcoin. Like, where else you go put it, right? You go put it in gold, something that doesn't even outperform inflation. You need to put it somewhere that can outperform inflation and get away from banks and centralization and everything else, right? And that's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's dominance surging after the banking crisis. Yes, yesterday Bitcoin pumped above 29,000. Unfortunately, it came down a little bit today. But overall, we know that Bitcoin has been showing a lot of strength ever since the banking crisis started, right? So if you zoom out a little bit, ever since around here, that's when Bitcoin started gaining strength. And this was when Silvergate went under. And it wasn't that long ago. It was like 3 months ago. And then SV Bank and everything else, right? There's day to day, week to week, there's still volatility. But overall, we are going up. And according to Plan B and his stock to flow model, right? We're certainly coming up. We're not there yet. That magical 100,000 that we did not hit because of Powell. Had he not announced rate hikes coming in December 2022, I think we would have hit that 100,000 mark. But we didn't. That's okay. It's clear that we are now recovering. Looking at previous cycles, you could see where we are versus where Bitcoin was in those previous cycles. And we know what's coming afterwards. And when this turns into red dots and then yellow and orange, that's when it's going to get real good. But in the meantime, it looks a lot like this. There's always going to be fractals. You can always find patterns, right? But right now, we definitely know that Bitcoin is gaining strength because of bank woes and crisis, right? The macro conditions look bad. However, Bitcoin is looking strong.